What's up, guys? Welcome back on Christmas Day. So, Merry Christmas to everybody who is celebrating. Thanks for watching on this day. I'm not recording it today, obviously. I will do a video if something else breaks. I will go home and record it. Other than that, it's gonna be a video talking about tough key decisions Allegri potentially needs to make now throughout the next couple of weeks. That's what we're going to talk about because after that Frosinone game, I think a lot of question marks kind of rise up, came above that needs to be discussed. And I think potentially he will be asked. He got asked one straight after the game on Yildiz and Chiesa, but there's also Danilo, Rugani, Kostic Jr., the formation, McKennie's position. Like, there's a lot of things to talk about, and I think some of these decisions, should be made very very soon. So we will go into that. Before we do that, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification, and let's go. Okay, so off the back of that Frosinone win, which was a good win, maybe strange, but I think a lot of question marks after that game because it was a win. Obviously, it was a good win at the end of the day, a much needed win also. But a lot of question marks, I think, came from that game. It started with Chiesa not being there, injured, and a lot of people were like, "What now?" I said immediately, it shouldn't be an issue. You should be still beating Frosinone away from home without Chiesa. We're that type of team. We are Juve. You need to beat those teams even without one player. Without Chiesa, basically. That was kind of it. So everybody first was okay. It's gonna be Milik and Vlahovic. How is that gonna work? Not sure. But Allegri did what he had to do, and I don't think he had an option. And I think he understood that he needed to do that, and he dropped Yildiz from the first minute into that team, and he needed to. Like, there was no ifs and buts. Like, if he didn't start Yildiz in that game, I think a lot of people, because even like Romeo Greci, all those journalists and whatever, they were like, okay, now is the moment. If it's not now, then when? You said Keane is out. Now Yildiz is going to play. It didn't happen against Genoa. Chiesa's out. Well, then Yildiz is going to play because he is ready. And that's my point with, we don't see in training. He can. If you're good enough, you're good enough. And you can play. If it's against Frosinone or if it's against Virtus Entella. If you're that guy, if you're talented enough, talent will show. And I think everybody around the club is 100% certain that he is talented enough. And he came on and he did what he had to do. That goal was just pure talent, like pure individual quality. But even even forget about that goal. It's just how composed he's on the ball. His first touch, it's perfect, and he can go straight away with that ball. He doesn't lose his time. He can flick it effortlessly. He sees things. He can control tempo and pace of the game, which is key. At times maybe you have a player like Chiesa who runs with the ball but forgets that, no, none of my teammates are with me, or teammates are with me but I heads down and I'm not really looking at it. I think that's the type of player Chiesa is. He's kind of the opposite of that. I think from what I've seen from Yildiz, he can play very good between the lines, and that's a key thing for something further down the show as well. But he was good, and he needed to play him. There was no ifs and buts. He had no, excuse not to play him, and he did what he had to do. He did what he had to do, and it's a tough one because Chiesa will probably be back against Roma, and you're gonna be playing Chiesa, obviously. But when you see what Yildiz can bring and what Yildiz can offer, it's very tough to now tell that kid to, yeah, you're not gonna play. Like, you're not gonna play, and it's gonna be Chiesa again, and see it out. When he got subbed, I was pissed because I also think personally that was not a good decision. He was playing very well. There was no need to sub him off. Just let him play. Let him play. He wasn't making any mistakes, and he was your main outlet. That doesn't mean he shouldn't have brought on Vlahovic, because he did. We needed Vlahovic in that game. but you could have taken off Milik. It did work because at the end of the day, Vlahovic did what he had to do. I don't think Milik played a big part in us winning that game. I would just not would have took Yildiz off. Just let him play. Let him get some confidence. Let him get the minutes because he was in a good feel factor. He had that buzz, and I think Allegri just needed to use that and milk that a little bit and gave him all the minutes he can get. That was kind of the downside. That was frustrating in my opinion. Also for a lot of fans I've seen, and even in some news reports, you can see that they were saying, "Oh, he was not the reason. Like he was not the guy that should be subbed off at that moment in time." But the issue is now, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with Yildiz? Are you gonna go back to garbage time minutes because we play once a week and he will be back, Chiesa, and he's gonna play. And are you gonna give Yildiz 50 minutes here and there? I think when you can see what he can offer and do, it's not enough. And the big thing is now we cannot play 3-5-2 with Chiesa, Vlahovic, and Yildiz unless you're gonna shoehorn Chiesa on the wing back, and that's obviously not gonna happen. I don't think Allegri is even that crazy. You need to change the formation to fit in Yildiz. And now the big discussion is, you cannot change the formation mid-season. What's going to happen? We don't have the players, but you have the players to do that up front. So we don't have the players to play a formation, so we play the players that can play in the formation we potentially should be playing differently. Chiesa, for example. What about taking that little bit of risk? If you look at Napoli and Milan and who else is behind us, you can open up a little bit, unless you really believe you're in a title race, and a lot of people do believe that, you're just gonna finish in the top 4 by default at this point. The other teams are poor. They're really, really poor. You need to mess up big time to miss out on top 4. You really do. So that being said, I think a decision should be made because I don't think Yildiz is going to be happy with garbage time minutes, and even 50 minutes here and there. I don't think that's going to be enough at this moment in time, for his development as well, but even moving on to the future. So the only thing to bring him in that team is change formation, and it's going to be something with what it's going to be is 2 up top and 1 in behind. Yildiz playing maybe a bit like Dybala played, get a free role, because from what I've seen against Frosinone, he can do that. He's very good at it, actually. So it's going to be that type of thing, in my opinion. You need to switch it up, obviously. What we're playing now, I don't think is good for Vlahovic and Chiesa. I don't think it's good enough in terms of, I don't think they are working very good with each other up there. It's very solo work. It's very isolated, for Vlahovic. I think with those 3 up top and 1 in behind being Yildiz, I think a lot of possibilities open up. Yildiz can drop in. Yildiz can come in for Chiesa. Chiesa can go to the left. Chiesa can drop in. I think that, you potentially can have something very, very good in your hands, And yes, it needs a massive switch in mindset, because you need to switch it up completely, You need to switch it up, and you need to decide who's going to be that 3 man midfield. Is it Rabiot, Locatelli, Mechanic? Can they cover it? Or you're going to need to ask Yildiz to do a lot of dirty work as well. Is that possible? Who knows? But I think it's very tough to bench him, if I'm being completely honest. That's dilemma 1 that I got from that game. Dilemma 2 is Danilo at the back. And not just Danilo at the back, just that back line. Because up to one point, I think it was when we were on that unbeaten run, it looked solid, and we still look solid. We still don't give up a lot of chances, no matter who we play at this moment in time, being it Monza or being it Napoli. That first half, maybe one chance, a big one, or being it Inter, whatever. It's not that we get played open consistently and we are all over the place at the back. It's not that thing. I just have a feeling ever since Danilo came back in that team, it's not that solid. Something is off. And I don't think Danilo has been playing very well. And I know he's getting back into that lineup because he is the captain, and that's my point I made the entire time, all season long, on the captaincy. For me, a captaincy should be a player that's unreplaceable in this team. He is your best player, and he is the guy that shows up week in, week out. Now, people might say, we're going to give it to McKennie this season, but it's not going to happen. I don't think Danilo is not unreplaceable because he has been replaced and it was good. You know, I don't think it's fair towards Rugani. I think that backline with Gatti, Bremer, and Rugani plays better. Why? Danilo has no pace. In the last couple of games, it was a bit scary at times. It was a bit scary. Usually, Danilo makes that up with his positioning. Excuse me, but not even that is happening. He's not playing well, in my opinion. And you can say, injured. He needs time. Fine, but I've always talked about these issues. It's just now they're very glaring. In my opinion. And with Rugani, the way he's playing, what he offers you more is man to man. He is very, very clean, and he can play high, and he can play high and man Marcus guy. He can make it tough for the opponent. That's what he was doing along that streak. I think it was a mistake to break that up. Captain or no captain, I think it was a mistake to kind of throw that away. You should have kept that the way it was, in my opinion, because it was very good. It's not a massive drop, like a massive drop. It's not a drop off to the extent that you're like, we are all over the place. It's just, it feels a bit off. It doesn't feel as solid. It doesn't feel as natural, whatever. Because I also think the pace Rugani has, and he's not lightning quick, but the pace and the fact that he can play high up the pitch and play man marking, and he can man mark players high up the pitch, is something we lose. And it's something that we absolutely need, in my opinion. And that's a big dilemma. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think he's going to bench Danilo for Rugani. Alexandro's out now, so Rugani is probably going to play more because he's going to give one of those guys rest very, very soon. I just don't think it's... it feels off. It feels off a little bit. That's a second dilemma I have of that game. And that's what I always said on captaincy. I don't think a captain should be a guy, yes, maybe a leader, he should be leading, but he should be leading on the pitch, and he should be a player you just cannot replace, and he's vital to what you do, and that could be a midfielder with no tech, but if you pull him out, everything falls apart. I don't think Danilo is that type of guy, and I think I still find it strange that he got subbed off, that he got straight into the team, and I'm a bit disappointing in that regard, in my opinion, because I don't know, it feels off a little bit. It does feel off a little bit. So that's kind of dilemma 2. Now let's go to dilemma 3 after that game. And should it be a dilemma? It's Kostic. It's Kostic. I think Allegri kind of admitted in that Frosinone game that, yeah, you're not good. You're not good because he made that mistake, with that goal, the goal we conceded, and he pulled him off immediately, and he brought in Junior. It's just frustrating that it needs to get to that point when everybody, I won't speak for everybody, but a lot of people, me included, can see that Kostic is not playing well, and he's not offering anything close enough to play every single week, week in, week out. He's just not doing that, I actually don't want to talk about effort because that's just the bare minimum, effort. Like, I don't know how to put it. That's just the bare minimum effort. Like, yeah, you need to have effort. That's normal. Like, to me, I don't know. But going forward, it's frustrating. If you look at that game, wrong decisions, the wrong touch, slowing down play a lot, with cutting back, it's very frustrating, and a lot of players also suffer with it, in my opinion, because it's not quick enough. And when he took him off, the moment he made that mistake, I was like, ooh, spicy. But then I sat back and I was like, he's going to play him again against Roma. And he might get assists here and there, but just look at the big picture overall. He's not offering enough. He brought in Iling-Jr., who should be getting more opportunities. Junior hasn't played for 5 weeks. He got minutes against Genoa. He got a good half an hour now, I guess. Uh, and you can see he's rusty. The first 10 minutes, it was a bit iffy, a few heavy touches here and there. I think that was the thing. But if you don't play a lot, that's what's going to happen, But towards the end of the game, he grew into it, and you can see what he can offer on the ball, even winning the ball back, playing a high line. He can recover. He has the pace for it, linking up play, all those things. He offers something completely different to Kostic. It is more dynamic. It is more fluent. It is more attacking in that sense. And he should be playing, And will he play? I don't know, because I have a feeling he will be sold. So will they risk it? No, probably not. But he should be playing. He should play against Roma. He deserves the start. And even if you think he's not shown enough to start that game, if you think that, fine. But has Kostic shown enough to start week in, week out? I think that answer is also probably no. So why wouldn't you give Junior a chance from the get-go? How many chances did Kostic get? And how many times did we came out of that game and you're like, yeah, that's not enough. That's not even close to enough, basically. And I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair towards Junior to not play him. I don't think it's the thing you should be doing. I think it's it doesn't work productive, and even for Kostic, you tell a player who's not playing well, you're gonna say he knows he's gonna play. So what incentive does he have to kind of flip the switch and be like, okay, I've not been playing well. I need to change it up now. I need to perform now, and I need to make a big difference in my game, in my style. And he's not doing that because he knows he's playing every single week. And I think that's also an issue. It's becoming an issue, in my opinion, and it's not a good thing. It's actually a very bad thing, in my opinion. So, 3 big dilemmas. I think the first one is the biggest one. We need to change formation to bring in Yildiz in that team consistently, which is probably not going to happen. The other 2, you can kind of fix relatively soon. You can start other players. Good dilemmas to have, some not good dilemmas to have, but it's up to Allegri to see what should be done, because I keep saying it, the team is not as talented as Inter. However, it has more than enough talent to do better, to offer more. And in my opinion, if you look at Junior coming on and you look what Yildiz can do, they do offer more. They do can change the game. They bring something else to the table. So you don't need to be, you need to play in that style, a type of football. You can do different things. You can win in different ways, and it's all decision making. And it's up to Allegri now to see what he potentially wants to do with these kind of dilemmas, because I think he knows he has these dilemmas. Maybe not the Danilo one, but especially the other ones. He has those dilemmas. So let's see how that will go. Let me know what you make of those potential dilemmas. Let me know what you would do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification, and thanks for watching on Christmas Day. Ciao.